हेलो एंड वेलकम टू द Correspondent.pk। आई एम आयशा सदीका और आज हम बात करने वाले हैं कि क्या यूएस और ईरान का कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एक जंग की सूरत इख्तियार करने वाला है। आर वी गोइंग टू फेस अ वर्ल्ड वॉर 3? Are we going to see another crisis like Ukraine and Russia? Because the entire world is being affected by that war, by that crisis, or by that conflict, whatever we might want to call it. Now, we hope that nothing of the sort happens, but recently we saw that some people, कुछ मोटरसाइकिल के ऊपर assailants आते हैं और उन्होंने फायर किया ईरान के इस्लामिक रेवोल्यूशनरी गार्ड के एक हाई रैंकिंग ऑफिसर को। नाउ द असैसिनेशन is huge because वो high ranking officer था। So Israel has claimed responsibility for killing Iranian official। उनके एक इजराइल की इंटेलिजेंस के एक सोर्स ने न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स को ये बताया है कि it was Israel who assassinated him। Now we have seen in the past, हिस्ट्री से अगर हमें कोई भी सबक हासिल होता है तो वो ये है कि जब भी कोई हाई प्रोफाइल मर्डर असैसिनेशन होता है बाय अनदर कंट्री, so that leads to a world war, just as it happened in the World War I. So now we have to see whether it will happen or not, because Iranians have vowed to take revenge from whoever did this. Now Iranians have always have tough relationship with the US. US has always been very critical, very biased towards Iran, if we must say, because in not 2 years ago, before we saw that Iran's Al-Quds commander, General Qasem Soleimani, so he was a very powerful military commander. He was killed by a US airstrike in Iraq. He was present in Iraq at that time, in a US airstrike that they got military information, intelligence information that he was present there, and airstrike killed him. A very poor situation was created because Iran declared 3-day mourning for him, because he was a very affectionate and very powerful. Iranians loved him and he was working towards making a better Iran. So when he was killed, many protesters came on the streets. They were fighting for him. They were very rigid on taking revenge for him. So these conditions also got worse. We saw a price hike in petroleum. Petroleum prices abruptly increased, and there was a crisis in the world. At the same time, not few months later, we saw that COVID arrived. So the situation got worse and worse, and the entire focus was drifted from Qasem Soleimani and his revenge to taking preventive measures against COVID. So right now the world does not face a pandemic. There is no epidemic or pandemic in the world, and the situation can get worse. So at that moment the situation was we can say diluted, या उसको हल्का कर दिया गया था, or it was overtaken by COVID, because COVID was a larger problem at that time. But currently, many statements from the world leaders are coming, condemning it. We can see that there are two lobbies, Russia and China, are supporting Iran. They are saying that what happened was wrong, but at the same time, Israel, UK, Germany, even Saudi Arabia and UAE, they are present in the US lobby. Now, the conflict between US and Iran has always been there, because Iran has been trying to work on becoming a nuclear power. They are trying to make nuclear weapons. They say now US does not want any other nation to become nuclear power, because it wants to dominate the field. It says that already the countries who have acquired nuclear power should also give up those weapons or those power. But Iran says that it is acquiring nuclear power for constructive purposes, for research, for science, for electricity, for power, and not for attacking someone. So the conflict remains, but Iran is headbound to become a nuclear power, and many say that it has already become a nuclear power. But this new chapter of crisis, this new wave in which one country targets the other country's senior member, can lead to a bloody war. now we have to, no one is in favor of the war. No one wants to see millions of people dying like we have seen in the past. We have a bloody history. The entire world has a bloody history. We have seen that no good comes from war. But the conflicts nowadays, they are moving from conflicts between countries to people conflicts, because it creates hatred among people. So in the generation when social media is so active and the news spreads so fast, hatred also spreads as fast, just like the news. So 6 Iranian scientists and academics so far have been killed, assassinated in different incidents by the Western people because of the hatred that has been created since 2010. 2010 से लेके अब तक 6 Iranian scientists or academics who are working outside, who are working in the Western world, they have been targeted and have been killed by the local people. So we can see that a sense of hatred have been developed within the people, and we cannot say that where this will lead. The crisis is huge. Maybe this will lead to another oil price hike, which obviously will lead to more and more inflation in the world. We just discussed yesterday that a recession is coming in the world. The world is leading towards a recession because which was जिसको एक बार हिट किया गया था कोविड की वजह से, and then Ukraine and Russia crisis added more fuel to it. But another crisis between two countries and two powerful countries will add more fuel and will lead to more and more poverty in the world, more and more crisis in the world, more and more worse situation in the world.